If you want specific results, you must give specific instructions. Hi, my name is Todd Hendricks, and I'm a former school teacher and administrator in public education. I'm also a ministry leader, and I help leaders learn the skills that they need to become respected and effective in whatever roles they're in. I also do leadership training and mentoring. A couple months ago, my sixth grader was at tennis camp, and you can imagine the scene where you have about 100 elementary age school kids all hitting tennis balls in every direction. And who are the coaches? The varsity tennis players from the high school. So you can see this is a finely oiled machine. Or not at all. Anyways, my daughter was going up to the net to hit a ball, and she hits a great backhand over the net. And the coach on the other side said you were supposed to hit a forehand, not a backhand. And, well, okay, whatever. As she's going to the back of the line, I hear her mutter, well, if you want specific results, you have to give specific instructions. And I kind of smiled to myself because she listens to me talk about leadership stuff all the time. And as we were driving home, I said, honey, that's a great leadership lesson. She goes, I know. She wanted something specific, but she didn't ask me for the specific result. She just assumed that I knew what she was talking about. She didn't tell me I was supposed to hit a forehand. Maybe she told another kid, but she didn't tell me. I said, very good point. This is going to make a great leadership lesson. So in your businesses, organizations, churches, even families, if you want specific results, you have to give specific instructions. Now, I have mentored and trained a lot of people in my day. And one of the common responses I hear when I'm talking to people about this is, well, I told them how to do it. Okay. How many times? Well, I told them once. Okay. So let's do a little test. When I upload this video to YouTube, what I need to do is download it off of my camera. That's step one. Step two is I need to upload it to my computer. Step three is I need to upload it to my video editing software. And then step four is I need to upload it to YouTube. Okay, there's going to be a test at the end. We'll see how this goes. So I just gave you specific instructions on how to specifically do something that I want you to do or that I do. And later on in this video, I'm going to test you on that and see how you remember that. So when you give specific instructions, it can't just be one time. You have to give specific instructions in a variety of ways so that your student or your subject knows exactly how to complete the task that you've assigned. So yes, you may have assigned somebody something to do and you told them how to do it the correct way, but just because you told them how to do it one time does not mean that they have retained that information and will remember to do it that exact same way. There's a principle of I do, we do, then you do. And this is something that I used back in the classroom, especially when I was teaching math. I would do a math problem on the board and I would have my students watch me. Then we would do a problem together that was very, very similar, so they got another repetition. And then I would have them do a separate problem, a third problem, on their own as I watch them. So they're getting 3 repetitions of this instruction before I turn them loose to do it on their own. So I wanted specific results for them. So I gave them 3 repetitions, 3 instructions on how to do this thing. And then not only did I give them 3 repetitions in how to do this thing, I was also monitoring what they were doing and giving feedback throughout the process. And that's key, is giving specific feedback so that you get your specific results. So let's talk about this specific feedback because this is one of the key elements of this specific results. While you are giving your instructions, you want to look at what your people are doing. If you're having a new form that they need to fill out, you want to watch them fill out this form to make sure that they're inputting the correct information where they're supposed to be doing it. A great example of this is coaches. If you've ever been a coach, if you've ever been on a team that has a coach, if you've ever been coached in anything that's not even sports, you've just been coached by somebody, then this is exactly the process. They will coach you in what to do and what not to do, and they will give you consistent feedback. So if you think about any sports team, anything that chases a ball, and if you're chasing the ball wrong, your coach is going to be like, no, that's not how you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to do it this way. And every time you do it wrong, what's your coach going to tell you? No, that's not the correct way. You're supposed to do it this way. and they're going to coach you until you do it the right way. That's specific feedback because they want specific results. So think about that example as you think about your people. Do you ever remember a coach ever saying, yep, go do this, and everybody does it perfect the right time? If they did that, then they wouldn't need to ever have practice, would they? Just because we're business leaders or we run an organization or whatever does not mean that we don't need practice and skills. And it sure doesn't mean that our people don't need practice and skills. So we need to have a little grace and mercy with our people. Just because we give them instructions one time does not mean that they've retained that information and that they're going to be successful. They need to rep this out. They need to do repetitions of this, and they need to practice it. Because you sure don't do something perfect the first time. Why should we expect our people to do the same thing? This final example is going to appeal to all the dog lovers out there. If you've ever participated, seen, or watched dog training, you know that the biggest part of that is consistency. You have to be consistent with the dogs. It needs to sound the same, look the same, and for the dogs, taste the same. Same goes for when we are training and mentoring our people. It needs to look the same, sound the same, and we need to be consistent in what we are giving them so that they can be consistent in what they're giving us back. So when you're thinking about dog training, I'm going to call out Cesar Millan. He's a fantastic, famous dog trainer to the stars. He's got shows on TV. He's written books, and I subscribe to his dog training. When I had a dog, I used very consistent techniques with my dog to the point where my neighbors would say, hey, Todd, how do we get our dog to act like your dog? And it's like, well, it's consistency. And one thing that dog trainers will always say is whenever you are interacting with your dog, you are always training. You are never not training your dog, unless the dog is asleep on their bed and you're just watching TV. But anytime you are interacting with your dog, that is a training session for life. So just be consistent all the time and you will get consistent results back from your dog. Same goes for our organizations and our businesses. If we are giving them consistent feedback, if we are giving them consistent input, we should get consistent results back from them. So think about that as you move forward. You are always training your people. Anytime you are interacting with your people, that is a training opportunity. That is a mentoring opportunity. I'll give you another example. I was just talking to a client and they were talking to me about, this employee was not doing the right thing and they didn't understand the ramifications of their mistake. And I said, did you tell them how serious that was? And she said, yes, I told them that it was very serious. I said, did you tell them the ramification, the implications of that mistake? And she said, well, no. And I said, that was an opportunity to drive home that point. When somebody makes a mistake, you don't just say, naughty, naughty, you made a mistake. You have to explain how that mistake ripples out and affects other parts of the organization, other people, maybe even them further on down the road, because then they start to get a greater, broader view of not just their own actions, but how it affects the organization as a whole. Then they start to get the mind of a leader, and that's what we want. Because if you can multiply yourself within an organization, you can reduce your workload, but also multiply what you can produce. I've been asked before, Todd, are we always training our people on every interaction that we have with them? Yes. Yes, you are. Now, there are certain times when you can step out of that role, like if you buy pizza for lunch and everybody gets to go to the break room and have pizza and Coke. Sure. Yep. Hey, how's your son doing in college? Oh, great. Hey, did you watch the game the other day? Yep. Hey, where are you going on vacation? Sure. And just shoot the breeze. That's absolutely fine to do. But every interaction that you have with somebody is an opportunity to mentor and train them because they see you as a leader. They know that you are their leader. So if you have the opportunity to make them this much better every 15 to 20 minutes, why not do it? Because like I said before, if you can multiply yourself, then you reduce your own workload, but you multiply your productivity. And that is huge. Why would you not do that? So let me give you an example. A lot of you know I did some work with a local church, And in my conversations with some people at that church, we were just talking about, this, that, and the other. And one of the teenagers, kind of was scooting past us and made a comment because, like, I like to tease people a little bit, and made a comment to me about something. And I said, okay, but you remember that for when it's your turn to do it. And the people that I was standing with kind of looked at me and they were like, well, why did you say that? And I said, because I had a conversation with that teenager not too long ago about them stepping up and doing some work in the church. We're getting older. Eventually, they're going to be the leaders of the church, probably in the not too distant future. And I want to plant that seed for them. I want them to understand that they're not just coming here just to exist and be entertained. No, that this is a community that they are invested in and that is investing in them, and that soon there may be some responsibility placed on them that they may take on their own shoulders on their own volition. So they were like, that's interesting. I said, yeah, I want them to understand that they have ownership. Even though they're young, even though they're coming with their parents, they have ownership in this organization and in this community. So every time that I have an opportunity to sow into somebody or to show them a better way or provide them leadership in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to do that, especially with people that I'm working with, because that's a mindset. I'm always looking for ways to make them better, because if they are better, then we are better, then the business and the organization is better, and that's a win-win situation for everybody. Okay, it's test time. I told you the 4 steps on how I use this camera and upload videos to YouTube. So, what's step number 3? Yeah, you don't know, do you? Well, it's because I only told you one time. I'm using this to illustrate a point. You can't give instructions only once and expect that it will be performed perfectly after that. So step 3 is I have to upload this video to my video editing software. Just because I know some of you are test takers and you really want to know the correct answer. But do you see the point? I hope you do. I hope you found this information helpful and useful. I hope it helps you grow your business and your organization. If I could be of any assistance to you in your business, please feel free to email me at todd@peoplefirstcoachingconsulting.com, or you can jump on Facebook at PF Leadership Group. That's a private group, but I will let you in if you ask to be in it. So please reach out to me. I look forward to hearing from you.